So today I'll be showing you how to make a geyser bra. I should be showing you the ways to take the geyser apart. I've already gone and taken the end caps off on this side, and this side I'm still working on it. Before you start this process, I would advise you to empty it out, or else you're going to have a big mess on your floor. Sometimes it's black, sometimes it's not. And it doesn't require that many tools, just some patience with getting the cap off if it's this bad, and an angle grinder to cut it open, maybe a weld hinges, but it should be quite easy and quite basic to build. Once you've taken the covers off completely on the sides, you'll notice that there's a layer of thick foam here, and to get all that foam off you're going to have to take this sheet metal off here. So what you want to do is either take an angle grinder and you just want to trim this whole entire thing and then unroll it, or if you don't have one, you can try and split the seam over here, take these feet off, and you can just basically unroll it. And then the next step would be to take all this foam off. It is that simple to take these things off. They just unscrew or unbolt straight out of those holes, and then you have it. Now once you've done that, you can start to plow the seam apart. Just try and find a way, or if you're going to use an angle grinder, grind it open. Now to try and unfold the seam over here, if you're not going to use an angle grinder, what I've tried to do, or what I'm trying to do, is to use an old chisel. Basically something that's just flat on one side like a wedge, and I'm just trying to, unfold the seam over here, and then you can try and unfold it. See, it's folded and folded and folded over each other there. So yeah. So once you've split the seam, or if you took the easier route and cut it, you just got to peel it back. Not that hard at all. Pretty easy. What I used is the old chisel, a hammer, a hacksaw, some pliers, a screwdriver, anything you can get your hands on to try and either split it or to unfold it. So on this side, what I did is I tried to split the metal. I used the old chisel, and it actually cut through pretty well till about here. Then I just used the hacksaw and cut it down. And then this whole entire part over here, I've unfolded the seam completely. I would say that's probably the harder way to do it, then medium, and the easiest way is 100% a hacksaw. I mean, not a hacksaw, an angle grinder. If you angle grind this whole thing one time that way, then you can unroll it 10 times faster. This is just a layer of foam insulation, can be chipped off quite easily. And this is that sheet of metal that's just been pulled off the outside. You might encounter some problems with this over here, but what I did is I went and I unfolded the whole thing and then just pulled it out like that. Now what you want to try and do is to try and knock off every single piece of this foam. You can use a chisel, a screwdriver, anything's going to do the job if it does the job. So get at it. It might take you a while and it's going to be really messy, so make sure you put down something, or even try and do it over that so you can just scrape off the excess into the bin. As you can see, this is pretty easy, but very time consuming and extremely dirty. Okay, so what I've done now is I've sanded the whole thing down, well, majority of it, and I'm going to use this seam as the bottom so that you can have the pipes on each end as ventilation pipes, and then I'm going to use this as a horizontal to bring my line up here for the cut across the top. And then use that line across here, then to draw another line for the top half, and then you'll be able to pull that whole piece up like that, and that will be your lid. So once you've gone and you've marked up all your lines where you're going to start cutting, just using an angle grinder, you can start cutting. What I'm doing is I'm going to cut the top part here where the hinges are going to get welded on. I'm going to cut that one first, then I'm going to weld the hinges on so that when I cut the other three cuts, everything's going to stay in line and we're not going to have to try and match them up later on while this piece is loose. Time to build the frame for this bra. Hopefully we can try and get it welded up today. Hopefully this thing will be standing. Okay, so what I've done so far is I went and I welded up these A-frames over here and I put in braces along the bottom, and now I've gone and cut out a piece of wood that's going to act as our plate, and then the geyser is just going to fit on top of here. And now all I'm going to do is I've measured out some circles or a radius that's going to fit in here so that it's that size, and then that will fit in here properly.